I'm Vanessa.
And I'm Jason.
And today we're going to be teaching you how to play the game Clickety Clack.
Designed by Ralf and Linde, it plays between 1 and 4 players and takes around 25 minutes to play.
Let's get going and learn how to play. In Clickety Clack, players will be clicking 2 dice together to form a new number in order to best fill the rows on their individual player boards and score the most points. Gameplay is super simple, but choices have to be made carefully. Every row has its own rules and possibilities will shrink as the game progresses. Furthermore, not every number you add to your board will bring you closer to victory. Let's dive in and take a look at how you play. Setup. Inside the box, you will find 4 double-sided player boards, 9 dice, and 4 dry erase markers. To set up, give each player a marker and a player board. You will see that each board has an A and a B side. You can play on either side of the board, but make sure everyone plays on the same side for each game, and it's recommended to play your first game on side A. We will use side A here to demonstrate the game, and we will look at side B later in the tutorial. Then, depending on player count, take a certain number of dice from the box to form a pool of dice in the centre of the table. For 2 players, use 5 dice, for 3 players use 7, and for 4 players use all 9 dice. Any unused dice can be left in the box. Finally, at the start of the first round, the youngest player will start by taking hold of all the dice in the dice pool. Now you are ready to begin. If you have hold of the dice, it means you are the starting player this round. Roll all the dice and place them in the centre of the play area. Then, one by one, in clockwise order, each player will take a turn. A turn is nice and simple. First, take a die from the pool and click it onto any other die in the pool, then announce the sum of their values out loud. For example, a 6 and a 5, click. Then place the first die, the one that you took, in front of you. It's now no longer part of the dice pool and is unavailable for the other players to take or to use this round. Now you must write the number you announced on your player board. For me, I said the number 11. I will place it here. When writing your numbers, you choose any of these 5 rows and you write the number in the leftmost empty space of the row. Once you've done that, that ends your turn. Simple as that. Once you've written your number, play proceeds to the player on your left who does the same steps. They choose a die, combine its value with another in the pool, announce the number and take the die out of the pool. Then they write the announced number on the leftmost empty space of any row on their board. Play continues like that until all players have taken 2 dice and there is only 1 remaining die in the pool. This marks the end of the current round. The last player to have taken a die from the pool now takes all the dice and re-rolls them to form a new dice pool, and a new round can now begin. Let's take a look now at the rules for each of the rows on the player boards. Each row has its own special rule that determines which numbers it can contain. These rules must be followed, and if an announced number does not follow the row's rules, then it cannot be added to that row. The top row here shows that you can only write numbers that are different. The order of the numbers does not matter. For example, 4, 7, 2, 10, 9, 8, etc. In the next row, the numbers have to be in ascending order from left to right. For example, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, etc. As you can see, the numbers do not have to be exactly sequential, and you can leave gaps, just that each number added to the row is greater than the last. As you can probably guess now, the numbers need to be in descending order in this row. Once again, you can leave gaps. So for example, 11, 9, 8, 7, 4. In this row, numbers have to alternate between being odd and even. You can freely choose the first number, but after that you have to respect the rule for this row. Furthermore, you are not allowed to use the same number twice. For example, 5, 8, 3, 10, 11, 4, etc. Finally, in this row, you must only write the pre-printed numbers. You can see them here, 6, 9, 3, 8, etc. Just remember that on side A of the board that we see here, you are not allowed to write the same number twice in any of the rows. So, what happens if you can't or you don't want to write a number in any of the rows? This is called a failed roll. In this case, you must cross off the leftmost available failed roll space here at the bottom of your player board. This will give you minus points at the end of the game. All of the minus points from crossed off failed roll spaces will be calculated towards your total at the end of the game. After a failed roll, re-roll all of the dice still in the dice pool. Then carry out your turn as usual, taking a die and combining it with another die and writing the sum on your player board. If once again you cannot or do not want to write down a number, you must still take one die from the pool and place it in front of you. This ends your turn without any further penalties. End of the game. Play continues round after round until the end of a round in which at least one player has met one of the 3 endgame conditions. At least 3 of your rows have a number to the right of the vertical finish line shown here. So this column here. At least 2 of your rows have a number in the rightmost space. That would be here. Or all 4 of your failed roll spaces are crossed off. If any of these conditions have been met, then do not start a new round and instead proceed to end game scoring. To score, look at the rightmost space that contains a number you have written. You score the points listed at the bottom of that space, marked in the scoring box on the far right. As you can probably see, you have to be super careful when filling up rows. Some of the spaces do not have a point value at the bottom. Each of these purple shaded spaces. If the last number you wrote down in a row is one of those spaces, you do not score any points for that row. Once you have your score for each of the 5 rows, add them all up and deduct any minus points crossed off in your failed roll zone. Then write your grand total in the space at the bottom right of your board. As usual, the player with the most points will be the winner, and if players are tied for the most points, those tied players can enjoy a shared victory.
Now you know how to play the game, let's take a brief look at side B of the player board to see the special rules for each row there. Side B offers more of a challenge and follows all of the same rules as side A with a few small exceptions. In the top row here, you must choose whether to write your numbers in ascending or descending order. You can leave gaps as before, but your second number in the row determines whether the numbers are going up or down. In this second row, each number added must be lower than the lowest number in the row or higher than the highest number in the row. For example, if the row contains a 6, 7, 5, 3, 9 and a 10, the only numbers that are still allowed on this row from here on are a 2, 11 and a 12, as 2 is lower than the lowest number in the row, here a 3, and 11 and 12 are greater than the highest number, a 10. In the middle row, here you see AA, BB, CC, you must write down numbers in pairs. When you write a number, the next number must be identical. However, you are not allowed to use the same pair twice anywhere in this row. So for example, maybe I could write a 4, and later the next number must be a 4 as well. And now for the rest of the row, I can't use 4s. Maybe the next one might be a 10, and then I would need to put another 10 again. Even trickier, however, is that you cannot use pairs of 6s, 7s and 8s, as shown by this little red line over here. In this next row with the wiggly line, the ascending and descending order of the numbers must alternate. You can freely choose the first 2 numbers, but after that you must follow this rule. For example, if I start with a 5 and I put the next number as an 8, so that's gone up from a 5, the next number must be lower, so maybe a 4 might be okay. Now the next number must be higher than that. As always, the same number can't appear twice in the row. Finally, in this last row, you must either write a range of small numbers between 2 and 6, or a range of big numbers between 8 and 12. The order of the numbers doesn't matter, as well as which range you wish to start with. You could start with low numbers, so maybe I start with a 6, a 2, a 5, and then maybe a 3. At any point, you can choose to switch to the other range. So now I could change to a big range of numbers. So then maybe I could do a 9 and then a 10. However, you are only allowed to switch the range of numbers once, from small to big or big to small. And as you can see in this row icon, it says 2 to 6 or 8 to 12. You cannot put the number 7 anywhere in this row. It's worth reminding you here that just like in side A, you're not allowed to write the same number in the same row twice, with the exception of course of the pairs here in the middle row.
And that's how you play Clickety Clack.
We hope you have loads of fun playing.
Bye for now.
Bye!